Hi folks, welcome to another video on music theory. Today we're going to focus on tones and semitones and accidentals. I know this is an area where a few of you have a little bit of difficulty in grasping the difference, and we always find that normally pianists have a distinct advantage here because using the keyboard as a basis to understand semitones and tones really does help. So a semitone, or a half step, is the distance on the keyboard to the next, from one key to the next adjacent key. So for example here, key 1 to key 2, C to a C sharp, is a semitone. It goes to the very next note. Okay. Now a semitone is not always from a white key to a black key, so a C to a C sharp. Okay. In this example here, an E to an F, we notice there is no black note separating those two notes. So notes 1 and 2 labelled there are still next to each other. So that is still a semitone or a half tone. So being able to visualize it and see it on the keyboard really does help. A whole tone, or a whole step, or simply a tone, is the same distance as two half steps or two semitones. So here, key 1 to key 3 is a tone, two semitones. There's one and there's two, so that's one whole tone. An accidental, and I'm sure you're familiar with these symbols here, are used to raise or lower the pitch of a note. That first one is of course the flat, and the second is the sharp. Now the flat lowers a note by a semitone, while the sharp raises a note by a semitone. So let's examine the black key in between C and D, highlighted there in red. This key could be called C sharp because it is a semitone above a C. But it could also be called D flat, since it is a semitone below a D. Another example would be E and F. Now E could also be called F flat, since it is a semitone below F. Now that's a very rare way of doing it, but technically that's exactly what these flats and sharps mean. It just means to lower or raise the given note by a half tone or by a semitone. Likewise, an F could be called E sharp. Okay. Now whenever a certain pitch has multiple names, we call that enharmonic spelling of a note. So the enharmonic of our first example, C sharp, was D flat. The enharmonic of F is E sharp, or the enharmonic of E is F flat, and so on. Now let's discuss the double flat and the double sharp. Now these symbols will be less familiar to many of you, but the way they work is very simple. So while flats and sharps alter notes by a semitone, down or up, a double flat and a double sharp alter a note by a whole tone. And when typing, you've got this funny X sign for a double sharp, or two flat symbols for a double flat. For example, both D and E double flat have the same pitch, since you can reach D by going a whole tone or two semitones down from E, as you can see there. So that note highlighted in red, we would normally call a D, could be written as an E double flat, moving the E down two semitones. D also sounds the same as C double sharp, since it is a whole tone above C. So a normal sharp sign raises a note by a semitone. A double sharp raises it by 2, or a whole tone. A normal flat sign lowers a note by a semitone. A double flat lowers it by 2 semitones, or a whole tone. And finally, a natural sign cancels out any accidental and returns a note to its original white key. These symbols, and knowing the differences between your tones and semitones, is crucial when we look at intervals later on, and being able to understand and calculate intervals will be really important in your analysis lessons.